how'd you start out as a tattooist?
That's a long story. I was going to college in Pennsylvania, and I didn't really like what I was going to school for, so I started tattooing.
All right.
And that's it. A couple of friends were doing it, and I started sitting in with them, and learned off of them. Started tattooing my friends and like ex-girlfriends and stuff like that. And word got around that I was tattooing, so I just had all sorts of people coming through the tattoos.
Come on.
All right. How much experience have you gained from the time that you started out until now?
How much experience have I gained? Probably a world of experience. I mean, I've been tattooing for 5 years. You know, it's a constant learning process.
All right. What about the job do you enjoy most?
Flexibility. I do whatever I want, you know. It's probably the easiest job I ever had, most enjoyable.
What are some modern styles of art that people use in their tattoos or that you like to use?
I do a lot of biomechanical, based off of H.R. Geiger's stuff.
Is there any kind of feeling that you have towards the other person, knowing that you're going to make something on their body that's going to be with them for their whole life?
Well, sometimes. It depends on the tattoo.
Yeah.
I mean, you end up doing, you know, a huge piece. Sometimes it takes a year and a half. You're going to get to know them pretty good.
Yeah.
Any specific moments that
Do lots of people use music in their, or do you like to use music in your art?
No.
No.
Not me.
Tattoos are obviously misunderstood by the common person. Do you think that generalizations people make about people leading alternative lifestyles that have tattoos?
There's a lot of old stigmas that come with it, you know. Years ago, the only people that got tattooed were gangsters and ex-cons and stuff like that, you know. I mean, like, even the Japanese tattoo, the Yakuza style, you know, that's from, you know, the Japanese mafia, pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is now a very popular style. But I mean, a lot of people are still close-minded about it. But it's something that's been, something's kind of been shifting lately. Like shows like Miami Ink and all that stuff. You know, a lot of people realize it's not dirty, filthy, piece of shit organization as it was 50 years ago.
Do you think people change when they get their first tattoo?
No. Usually the same person going in. Probably some sort of god-awful hippie if you think you're going to change by getting a tattoo.
Are there any symbolic elements of a tattoo?
Ultimately, it's whatever you make of it, you know?
Yeah.
For the end user, you know, it's none of my business why somebody gets their tattoo. I mean, they may tell me that it's still their tattoo, it's not mine. I mean, it's my artwork, but it's still their tattoo.
Alright. When did you get your first tattoo?
When I turned 18.
What's your first tattoo that you got?
This one, it's a crest shield with 4 runic symbols, 2 axes, and a sword.
What's your favorite tattoo that you have?
Probably the one on the opposite arm. It's a cross surrounded by a winged serpent. It's a good representation of religious struggle.
Do you notice anything in the responses that people have of you when they see your tattoos?
No, not really. Nothing's really changed as far as the way people have perceived me before. I actually had more of a change in people's responses to the way that I am when I shaved my head and kept the goatee going. I guess maybe just because culturally, as Americans, everybody's beginning to understand that tattoos, like I think it's 1 out of every 3 people have more than 1 tattoo, and 1 out of every 2 people have a tattoo. So it's just more and more of a common thing. There's never been really any type of a difference in whether I'm at church or any venue. Nothing's really changed. Although occasionally I have instances with like law enforcement or people who actually see other people with tattoos who are not exactly kosher people. Like I had a car accident not too long ago, and I was actually the victim, and as soon as the officer got there, he gave me the look and had the tone in his speech to where it was almost like he was trying to pin it on me because I got hit by a young lady, oh, the young lady, and the truth be told that she fell asleep at the wheel and hit me, and he just kind of kept pointing the finger like it was my fault, and it was a really weird situation.
Do you think your view on yourself changed when you got a tattoo?
Actually, yeah. When I went to get my first tattoo, my father looked at me and he said, biblically your body is your temple. And it's your temple for God. And my family's really pretty religious. To actually get a tattoo, at the time, when I was 18, it was more like I don't want to say a rebellious cry of freedom. Look, I'm 18. I'm no longer being controlled by anybody else except for my own actions. And instead of having that motif continue on, the more tattoos I got, the more I became more self-independent, self-aware of my likings and what was good to put on, what wasn't. Everything I have on, except for one of my original pieces, everything is pretty much black ink. There's nothing. I only have one section of color, and it's easily hideable, and it faded really fast. Everything else I have is not necessarily tribal, but it's historical. It has a meaning. Like, for instance, this is the Trinity symbol. Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, while this is a symbol for healing, and this is a symbol of protection. Same thing with this side. This is also another type of Trinity symbol. And a lot of people actually stop and ask me, hey, where did you get that? That's interesting. Did you come up with that design? And yeah, it just goes from there.
Is there anything else you want to add to the interview about tattoos regarding cultural difference? And anything else you may want to add?
Don't do drugs. Stay in school.
It is claimed arguably that tattoos have been around since 12,000 years BC. The Samoans had adopted tattoos into their culture for its painstaking procedure, still used in few professional tattoo shops such as this one. Sailor William Dampier can be responsible for introducing tattoos to Great Britain by capturing Prince Gigolo, a native he had found in uncharted territory. After tattoos had become well known in Great Britain, Samuel O'Reilly patented the first tattoo gun in 1891, modeled after Thomas Edison's electric pen. At the turn of the century, O'Reilly landed in Chatham Square in New York, introducing tattoos to America. Tattoos soon took a downturn in hygiene and were outlawed in New York, so he moved to Coney Island where he trained his apprentices. Tattoo parlors opened up across the U.S. After World War II, tattoos became closely associated with juvenile delinquents and Marlon Brando-type bikers. This and the hepatitis outbreak of 1961 caused tattoos to be looked down upon as an art form. In the late 60s, tattooing had become more popular with the help of Lyle Tuttle, who popularized tattooing once more. Tuttle accomplished this by tattooing celebrities such as Janis Joplin and Marilyn Monroe. Since then, the tattooing industry had experienced great recognition by common people as fine art, especially because of the most recent contributor, Miami Ink., a show on the Learning Channel. Culturally, the most problems that shops have are the do-it-yourself tattooists, who are often creating a bad rep for tattoos for their carelessness. No one really knows the future of tattooing or what it might bring. Only time can tell.